At this rate and in this trend channel, $313 is likely by the end of June for Tesla stock, says Alex. I'm not going to make any short-term Tesla stock price predictions here, but long-term I believe that we will 10x from here and more. I'll go through some of the latest Tesla stock news, but first, we know that Tesla stock dropped a lot yesterday, but if you sell your Tesla stock now, I won't blame you. But I will make fun of you 10 years from now. Recently, someone called me a permanent Tesla stock bull. Well, that person must have not seen this video because about a year ago, I said Tesla most likely actually it will drop further. Sell Tesla stock now, basically, or years later. I had multiple reasons for that, but a big one was Elon Musk selling Tesla stock. And if you sold back then, you would still be able to buy back all of your shares today at a cheaper price. In theory, you may minimize your risk by doing that, but your returns are likely going to be a lot less because you're likely to miss out on huge gains. I don't know exactly when Tesla will solve full self-driving. Maybe it will solve it next year. Maybe it will solve it a year after that. Maybe a year after that. Maybe there will be a huge breakthrough in the next 3 months. Maybe it will happen in 2029. I don't know for sure, but what I do know is once Tesla solves full self-driving, or once it is apparent that Tesla is going to solve full self-driving and that Tesla will eventually deploy a huge robotaxi network, the valuation of Tesla stock will skyrocket like you have never seen before. And I just do not want to miss that run on the way up. If I sold my Tesla stock back in August last year, I would have probably bought in no later than when Elon said, I am not going to sell any more Tesla stock. So there's no way I would have bought at the very bottom. But a big chunk of my reentrance probably would have happened when Elon pledged to no longer sell any more Tesla stock. Elon pledged to sell no more Tesla stock on December 23rd. I would have, of course, been buying before this too, but this would have been the day where I would have put in the rest of my position. Because one of the most concerning things, which I addressed earlier about a year ago in one of the videos, was Elon Musk selling more Tesla stock in August. So until I would have been convinced that Elon is mostly done selling more Tesla stock, I would have not deployed all of my money to get back into Tesla stock again. And I would have possibly doubled my money, not quite because I would have been buying before then as well, but it would have been a nice gain. While looking at this in the short term, it does seem to be a good idea to have done that. I think in the long term, thinking like this will lead you to actually missing out on huge gains. Because my investing horizon is about 10 years. If you don't have that long of an investment horizon, if you take profits right now, actually, I would understand why you would do that if you don't assign much value to full self-driving. Overall, I am pretty happy because I depleted a lot of my cash reserves. Maybe too much of my reserves were depleted around this day. So no, I am definitely not a permanent Tesla stock bull. I call it as I see it, and right now, I see a buying opportunity for myself in the long term. Remember, my time horizon is about 10 years for investing. Currently, I believe that Tesla stock is trading well below its fair market value still. But the market can be completely irrational for an extended period of time, so I wouldn't be too surprised if we see a pullback sometime soon, especially if Tesla keeps discounting its vehicles. But if we do see a nice and big and successful advertising campaign, and if it works, I think there is a good chance that Tesla will rally. But I don't buy Tesla stock based on these things. I just dollar cost average. I buy every single month as long as I'm buying Tesla stock under its fair market value. And now, latest Tesla stock news. ARK Invest sold some Tesla stock again, not yesterday, but a day before yesterday. Yesterday, Cathie Wood did not sell any Tesla stock. James expects to see a new Cybertruck update in the next quarterly report, so very roughly about a month from now. Elon says that he should clarify Dojo version 1 is highly optimized for vast amounts of video training versus general purpose AI. Dojo version 2 will address these limitations. This was in reply to this tweet. In other words, what Elon is sort of saying here is that maybe Tesla will be competing with Nvidia later as well. Tim, who works at Tesla as well as Twitter, he says something interesting. He's specifically talking about Dojo. This is real, this is happening, this train is going at max speed and cannot be stopped. For context, today, our compute clusters have 0.3% of idle time and 84% of jobs are high priority. We want to be in a place where we have an excess of compute. Elon replied to that tweet by saying exactly. Omar is very impressed with the latest full self-driving beta version. He says it feels very smooth and refined, very noticeable improvements from the last build. Wasn't expecting much, but this is a significant step forward so far. And Elon says they are actually much more than point releases, but the team is reserving 11.420 for the big one. So Elon is hyping up that big version. Ashok, who is in charge of Tesla's full self-driving development, says it's been my secret ambition to make Tesla FSD so good that it works as well as a local driver even in India, which will then prove unequivocally that we have achieved AGI. Our Tesla community is quite excited to how a Tesla account solely dedicated to AI, and Dylan tweeted this: "Why would a car company make an AI Twitter? So dumb." Probably said Tesla short sellers as well as many Wall Street investors. That, of course, represents a huge opportunity for us Tesla stock investors. Troy releases latest public delivery estimates for Tesla, and they are now down by 2,000 from 443,000 to 441,000. The analyst consensus is still the same. Troy expects 1.765 million deliveries for this year and only 200 Cybertruck deliveries for this year. Look at what Elon is tweeting. Genetically engineered catgirls are possible, scientists say, but we lack funding. Well, Elon can provide all of the funding. He says that optimism will come in many forms. This is great news for Tesla. Texas announced that it is going to require Tesla's NACS connector on charging stations in the state, giving the connector another boost in becoming the standard for charging in North America. Roland posted the latest breakdown of BEV market share in Europe. This year, so far already, we have 6 countries that are above 25% adoption rate, which is incredible. Elon made one more comment about the Dojo supercomputer. He says that it is not exactly a competitor to NVIDIA, as we aren't selling Dojo computers, although it could be sold as a service. We just need a crazy amount of training compute to get full self-driving 10 times safer than human driving, but can't get enough GPUs, plus prices are extremely high. And Elon says that Hardware 5 is going to be the version that is probably going to be 10 times safer than human driving. Some cars are now seeing Hardware 4 being installed, and Hardware 5 is going to be coming probably in a few years. Elon has been talking a lot about Tesla on his Twitter account, and I love that. That is good for Tesla. He also said Tesla AI, both software and hardware, is far more advanced than even most experts realize. Dojo, says Elon Musk, has been online and running useful tasks for a few months now. And this is more good news for Tesla. Actually, Smart Auto Wiper software releases in about 3 weeks. Our patented Ashley Smart Summon is probably a month or 2 after that. Although knowing Elon's timelines, this will probably take a little while longer. This is a bit crazy. This is Mark Zuckerberg's Instagram, the CEO of Facebook, or Meta, which basically sort of showed Mark Zuckerberg accepting Elon Musk's challenge to a physical fight in a cage. And if it is for real, says Elon Musk, I will do it. Personally, I am not a huge fan of that, because what if Elon gets injured? Then he will spend less time at Tesla. As a Tesla stock investor, I don't like it, but not being a Tesla stock investor, putting that aside, this sounds pretty interesting, although I don't think it is really responsible to do that. If it's just Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu though, I think it's fine then. Here's some more good Tesla news. A German inspection of a Model S, which was registered in September of 2013, which now accumulated over 1 million miles in 10 years, showed that the vehicle is free of any defects. After Barclays downgraded Tesla's stock yesterday, there was this one pretty bullish appearance on TV. Let's take a look.
We're joined by Will McDonough, founder and CEO at EMG Advisors. You have been a big fan of Tesla in the past. Would you be a buyer of the stock now?
Yeah, I was surprised you referenced before. I think Barclays had downgraded them in a way. What Tesla continues to show is that they're at the forefront of innovation. They don't trade on traditional metrics. They don't trade as a multiple of earnings. They don't even actually reference car sales a lot in their communications. What they reference is innovation, efficiency, low-cost provider, which I think is important, and that's what's really driving adoption here. And I think, we like to talk about Steve Jobs never aspired to be a cell phone salesman. You never know what your business is going to mature to be. And Tesla might have just backed themselves into a $5 billion global market for charging infrastructure. What's the value of ExxonMobil's or Shell Oil's pump stations? These are really core infrastructure in North America. And Tesla kind of just got anointed as the one that's going to be providing it. So what's that mean for convenience stores? What's that mean for real estate? That's just a whole new line of revenue that isn't contemplated by traditional equity analysts.
Seems like he gets Tesla stock.
This might be the first step towards the Fords and the GMs of the world using Tesla batteries, using Tesla chassis. Elon continues to talk about how all Tesla cars are going to have the same base chassis, and the only difference in a Tesla car is going to be the body style and the user interface. What's to say that my Ford F-150 in the future, my Lightning, isn't built on a Tesla chassis? Like, where does this end? The adoption and the innovation lies with Tesla, and the capitulation only begins with the charging infrastructure.
Make no mistake, every time when a major legacy automaker capitulates and accepts the supercharging network from Tesla, they are doing so because they absolutely have to, and this is them capitulating.
Elon Musk saying the company plans to do, in his words, what's humanly possible to establish a manufacturing presence there. This coming after he met with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Tesla is just the latest American company looking to expand its footprint in the country, and Modi is looking to capitalize on that interest as he begins his state visit here in the U.S. Let's bring in Rick Rosso. He's the chair of U.S.-India Policy Studies at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Is this time around different? Do you get the sense that India has the infrastructure, has the regulation in place to allow for this big push to bring in more multinational companies?
I wouldn't say the government of India has necessarily been running to position itself as the next best option. There isn't, frankly, a lot of deregulation that the Modi government would necessarily need to do. A lot of that lies with state governments, and there where you don't see quite as much action as what would precipitate, I think, a major wave of U.S. investment. So you've got a couple of great one-offs, most of which you just mentioned. But if you look at India's own numbers on foreign direct investment coming into the country, it's actually dropped by about 20% in the last 12 months versus the 12 months prior to that. So you're not really seeing the numbers showing a groundswell of investment. But gosh, when the big telecom suppliers and others do start making announcements, maybe this is kind of the first wave, but I think we'll have to check in another year or two and see if the numbers kind of prove that it's more than just a few very visible one-offs, and there actually is a groundswell of U.S. companies making those big investments. Right now, the data doesn't show it's happening.
When Tesla started making EVs, did we have infrastructure built out for making EVs? For example, did we have infrastructure for making batteries specifically for vehicles? No, we did not have that. Did we have infrastructure for charging? No, we did not have. Who built it? Tesla did. So if Tesla needs to build out infrastructure in India, I think Tesla is plenty capable of doing that. The question for Tesla really is there a market for electric vehicles in India? And well, India has over 1 billion people. It is the most populated country on earth. Obviously, there is a huge market for Tesla waiting there. We just need to enter that market and then build out the infrastructure. And if Tesla wants to accelerate the transition to sustainable energy, India is going to be an important part of that mission.
Listen, being able 90% of whatever charging is done at home, I get it, Brian, but if you're going to be in a road trip, you need to know you can get charging. I've been driving around in EVs. It's spotty, to Mark's comment, to say that's probably a compliment, by the way. How critical of an issue do you think this is to EV adoption ultimately?
It's critical, I think. But if you look at what's happening here and what we just talked about with Musk talking to the leader of India, he's probably going to suggest to them that he can provide their infrastructure. And it looks like he's on the way toward providing significant infrastructure upgrades for our country. This is from a company that didn't really exist in any meaningful way 25 years ago. And they're already to the point where they're leading, and these longtime other automakers are following. That's amazing to me. No matter what you think about Elon Musk, he gets lots of credit for creating a ground-up American automotive company that is now leading the way in a future technology. That's astounding.
Exactly. And if Tesla needs to build out that infrastructure in India to make EVs possible, Tesla will do exactly that. The Ford CEO really slammed the Cybertruck, saying it's only for Silicon Valley people and that Ford makes trucks for real people who do real work. And I think Gary Black is on the money here. When Jim Farley starts insulting those of us who have a Cybertruck on order who are not from Silicon Valley, you know, he must be scared of what happens to Ford's truck business when the Cybertruck launches. And here's a real work truck here for you from Ford.
Nothing there. Brand new. Brand new. It's the 19, isn't it? Has less than 1,000 miles on it. 1,500-pound load. Snapped the anchor. Came right out the side. There's nothing to these aluminum beds. Look how thin this is. Oh, it's gonna break right off. Look at that.
Yep.
Don't buy a Ford.
Pre-order a Cybertruck for yourself. And YouTube wants you to watch this video next, but if you haven't seen this Elon Musk interview, I highly recommend that you finish watching it. My name is Matt Posius. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.